Now welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
Today you actually pointed me to an article.
I did.
Just rare, to say the least.
I know, I used to be every day digging for Star Wars news, but now you cover that, so I kind of let it slide usually. Unless something crosses my path, either sent to me or otherwise.
This crossed your path and you decided you wanted to talk about it.
I did. I saw the headline and I laughed, and I didn't even read the article. I just sent it to you, and I figured this was going to probably make for a fun topic.
Oh, okay, so I guess we'll start with the headline. Star Wars lightsaber lore explains why Sabine survived her Ahsoka Episode 1 injury.
Yep, I saw that, and I'm like, this is going to be fun.
Lightsaber
This is where the
lore.
fun begins.
Oh, so apparently what they're talking about here...
It's a Screen Rant article, right? Yeah, so I mean that right away. Well,
they churn out like 8 articles a day
they just
of nonsense.
Yeah, they like to do their Star Wars articles. Sometimes I'll read them for a good laugh.
Yeah, sometimes I read the article, like the header name, and I'm like, I really am curious what they have to say about this, but I also
Clickbait.
don't want to click on it and give them a dime.
Sometimes they're very clickbaity. Mm-hmm. Okay, they always are, but
Always.
But that's kind of the name of the game these days, unfortunately.
So you didn't read the article, you made me read the article.
I kind of skimmed it, perhaps.
But this is supposed to come from actual lore.
Okay.
Yeah. So Shin Hati's lightsaber, it's less deadly. Yes, than other regular versions of lightsabers because it is a light foil variant, which is how Sabine survived because she got stabbed with a less deadly lightsaber.
I don't think it matters so much like what it is or what kind of lightsaber. It's the fact that it went right through her like chest, upper stomach area, I guess.
But it gets better though, because the source book they're using for this is called Knights of Fate. It's a role-playing guide for Star Wars Force and Destiny, which they're claiming is considered canon. There's a whole bunch of different lightsaber types.
I don't know the quote-unquote canon status of some of the role-playing
Fantasy
source
Flight
books.
game from 2018, role-playing game. So they're saying that this book is canon, and canonically, her lightsaber it's a light foil variant, which they say is comparable in size to a Shoto saber, but
like
it has
Ahsoka used.
Yes, Ahsoka had
or
Shoto.
Younger Ahsoka, back in the day.
But the blade on a light foil, it's smaller and more narrow, so it was confirmed to do less damage to opponents than regular kyber-powered swords in the aforementioned source book.
The big problem with this is like when you're playing like a role-playing game, you will have obviously different weapons will do just different die damage. Like you roll a 1d8 or maybe a 1d6, just to kind of for variety sometimes sake, or because you want to just this one is a bigger blade, so in the game it'll make more sense to do more damage.
It's like the difference between broadswords and great swords.
Yeah, if you use like a great axe in D&D, it's going to be a 1d12. But if you're using like a battle axe, it's a 1d8. Just because it's a bigger sword and you're just trying to, it's a game.
What I find the most ridiculous about this article is you're saying that it's a light foil, so it has a smaller and more narrow blade. But if you watch the two of them clashing, the sabers are identical.
They're the same. Yeah.
It's not a light foil. It's not a smaller, narrow blade. It's not a surgical weapon here. It looks exactly like Sabine's glow stick on drugs.
Yeah, it doesn't... I mean, it would be one thing if she was dual-wielding and it looks like noticeably like smaller and narrower.
Like a thin blade, but it's not.
Yeah, but even still, the whole problem here is not that the blade is like narrow or thick. It's where that thing is going, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just... There's a lot of vital organs up in that area.
Yeah, and then they're like, well, maybe it's possible that Shin deliberately avoided killing Sabine, given that Sabine's internal organs were spared, and apparently Shin's conflicted nature between the dark and light side of the Force.
Conflicted nature?
Yeah, at the end, she maybe gave 2 seconds or less of a thought of maybe not running. I don't know.
Or was she just thinking, if I say no to them, are they going to kill me?
I think she was quickly not weighing her options, but like, how am I getting out of here? There's 3 of them, there's 1 of me.
I don't think there was a moment where she's like, yeah, I'm going to take Ahsoka's hand and go light side. She's thinking to herself, I got basically a fully trained Jedi here. I got Ezra, who's Jedi-ish, and Sabine, who is less Jedi-ish. Like, if I say no to them, are they going to attack and try to kill me?
Not to mention, when Shin went after Sabine at the very beginning of the series, This was like just after we watched a scene of her like slice and dicing people up in the hallway of a ship.
Yeah, where it just took like one graze of the leg and they were down and dead.
I think Shin assumed that she had killed Sabine. I don't think she was like,
no, absolutely.
No, I'll just deliberately make sure I use my very extra narrow blade that looks literally just like every other blade.
Yes.
And I'll stab it exactly here to avoid organs on purpose.
Yeah,
no.
There's no reason she would like spare Sabine. She has no attachment whatsoever. Why would she go slaughter people on a ship and then like with Sabine she's like, no, this one's different. I can just tell because she's a main character.
Love, right?
I don't think that's gonna be a thing, but
no, I know.
Yeah, I know you were kidding.
I know you know I was kidding.
Well, I know you know that I knew you were kidding.
No, the reason that most likely the reason that she survived, aside from plot armor,
it's plot armor.
It's 100%
plot armor. There's no.
Is they didn't have her pull the lightsaber out the side, which
carefully pulled it straight back out.
Pulled it straight back out of the wound. Yep. And B, Ahsoka was there and immediately med-packed the thing.
That is the most explainable.
That's the only.
Did I just make that word up?
Yes, you did.
Okay. That's the best explanation, is that Ahsoka was immediately there to administer first aid, and we live in a
Not to mention, maybe Ahsoka can do some force healing. We don't know. She can do everything else.
She did. She did pick up psychometry, so why not force healing too? Yeah, that makes sense.
Saying, it makes more sense that was what happened than Shin's blade was
less strong or powerful. It's like a blade of plasma, essentially. I
really want to know who comes up to screenwrite and goes, Hey,
make an article
I play this Star Wars RPG, and I think
this is the answer.
This is a light foil blade. Like, did you look at the blade? It looks just like every other blade.
Yes, visually, there's no difference. And again, even if it was like slightly thinner or not quite as thick, however you want to look at it, like it's all about where it's going. You could have a very narrow hot poker going up in there. And
I think Shin was more upset that she didn't kill her than like I deliberately left her alive. Ha ha ha.
Yes.
No, this is another article that is good for a laugh, and that's about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not trying to make fun of the article so much as I thought it would be a fun discussion about what, the problem with lightsabers, right? Like, they should, 99% of the time, they should probably kill you when you get impaled by one, essentially.
Hey, don't forget, this article also refers to lightsabers as the Jedi's most trusted gadget.
Oh, so it was one of those writers who... got asked if you could do a piece on Star Wars and I think I saw that movie.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite when you can just and look, I'm not trying to be mean. Like nobody has to be like an expert on Star Wars. You can talk about it with as much or as limited knowledge as you have. But there have been articles on like major websites essentially where I'm like, has this person watched Star Wars? Because they're just they're using terminology that kind of outs them as not being like a real Star Wars fan, which is fine. But if you're going to do an article on a major website,
but I feel bad though for people who
read
don't
this and
delve deep into Star Wars and just go, "Oh, that makes perfect sense. It was a thinner blade." I'm like, no,
it doesn't make sense.
They even have a picture in the article of those two clashing sabers close to each other, and they're the exact same type of weapon. Neither one is thinner than the other.
No,
they're the same.
They are the same.
I miss the good old days when they had to be drawn in after the fact.
Oh, just, yeah.
Get out your pencil. It's time to make lightsabers.
Yeah, they did, too. I mean, first movie, they were kind of...
Yeah.
That was all post-production, like, penciling it. Not penciling it, but they were adding it after the fact.
Literally drawing it onto the frame.
It's kind of crazy.
I miss those days.
Yeah.
Sounds exciting. What's your job? Well, I'm a lightsaber artist. I draw lightsabers. Oh, okay, then.
That's cool.
It's cool.
Are some thinner than others?
Depends on if I've sharpened my pencil recently.
The real reason that Sabine survived has been revealed.
Yes.
He sharpened his pencil that day in post-production, and it was
extra
just
thin
thinner.
blade.
Yep, extra thin blade. All right, well, I think that's all we got for you this time. So now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell us what you think about thick and thin lightsabers.
That sounded wrong.
Yep, I'm sorry. Anyway, take to the comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.